I've been doing some thinking, and I have some questions. Why are we always reading really old stories where characters are just slightly to the left of relatable? Yeah, but Romeo and Juliet just had a crush. Yeah, but then they married within the week. But Gatsby just had his heart broken, which was great, but then he went and hit somebody with a car. But what about Boo Radley? Okay, gray area. I also don't like leaving my house. But you know who else deserves to be on that list? Allison, from The Wife of Bath's Tales in the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, backing up. The Canterbury Tales is a collection of characters who tell tales at a party, and it's written by Geoffrey Chaucer. Allison is one of these characters who is telling a story at the party, and she tells two. She tells her experience of her own marriage, and she tells a fictional tale with a moral. And combined, these stories are called The Tale of the Wife of Bath. And it's pretty famous for starting arguments over whether or not Chaucer supported feminism. Feminism is honestly a really hotly debated topic in any form of literature, so if we want to understand Chaucer specifically, then we need to see things through his eyes. Not his literal eyes. Okay, wherever you got those, I want you to go put them back. You're freaking me out. Okay, anyways, the purpose of seeing all of this information through Chaucer's eyes, figuratively, can answer the question of what is Chaucer's belief on a woman's role in marriage, and how does he convey it in The Tale of the Wife of Bath? But how do we know that? I did some digging and concluded that Chaucer effectively perpetuates the role of a woman in medieval England through his use of historical characterization, irony, and syntax. Okay, we have to go back in time for this one. Alrighty, here we are in Chaucer's tragic time of no Wi-Fi or air conditioning. It's also a pretty tragic time for women, as we learn that Allison, the wife, married not one, not two, but 5 times, a lifestyle that kicked off from the age of 12. According to criticism, with this husband and the next 2, Allison was very pragmatic about the relationship, using her body to control her husband and gain financial boons from them. But wait, there's more. The gist of her frankly awful situation is this. Wives in medieval England didn't have rights, they weren't educated, and they were seen as superficial. And on top of that, they were only valued for 3 things: youth, beauty, and sex, which are all things she's exploited to secure her freedom in marriage. And that strategy lasted for 4 marriages out of 5. But by her 5th, she's lost her spice, if you catch my drift, and she couldn't control her husband anymore because she was not of much value for him anymore. F in the chat for everyone involved. Anyways, after Allison finishes recounting her married life with the 5 misters, she shares this tale about a knight who is tasked with discovering what all women truly want. And spoiler alert, no, it is not spice. It's actually freedom of choice in marriage. Who would have thunk? So because Allison's idea of a good story is to tell about a knight who learns that maybe giving his wife some freedom in marriage is a good idea, and then also sharing her experience of 5 marriages where she had no freedom in her marriage, it's really obvious that she's just asking for more of a choice after she marries someone. And honestly understandable. The poor girl is just asking for a little bit of freedom because she feels that she deserves it and can handle it, which is unfortunately a sentiment that Chaucer kinda just... yeah. So even though Chaucer literally created Allison, who in this scenario embodies feminism and women's rights in marriage, he presents her as a really airheaded talker who has no capabilities of handling herself outside of dependence on a husband. According to Treherne, when Allison speaks, she uses a lot of filler words and empty phrases such as "by my fay" and "God woot." Using fillers the way that Allison did was considered a sign of shallow-minded people back then, and you'll also never guess what kind of people back then were stereotypically considered shallow. If you guessed any form of the word woman or married woman, then congratulations, you've won. Here's your grand prize. So essentially, Chaucer gave us the embodiment of hashtag girl power, and then he just dressed her up in a clown costume. That's a pretty whack thing to do to your character. Do you need a Snicker or something? I feel like you need one. No? Okay. He said no. but I feel like he needs one anyways because the differences between genders isn't just limited to how he describes their dialogue, it's also just how he describes the characters themselves. In The Tale of the Wife of Bath, masculine qualities and characters are described as the superior with reason and spirit, the active and the heat and the dryness, while the feminine equates to the inferior, the flesh, the body, the passive, and coldness. And with that, we have two things that are pitted against each other in this court case of situational irony. In the first booth, we have Mr. Chaucer, who maintains that wives cannot handle freedom. And in the second booth, we have Allison, who maintains the exact opposite and advocates for freedom anyways. So summed up, Chaucer's use of syntax, irony, and characterization in historical context presents his belief that women should not be permitted freedom outside of what their husbands grant them. So remember how I said that these characters were always slightly to the left of relatable? Well, it holds up for Allison because her advocacy for freedom in marriage is understandable, honestly. Who wouldn't prefer to be given a choice rather than being told what to do all the time? Her slightly to the left quality falls on Chaucer's frankly unjust characterization of her, making her seem crazy just for asking for some freedom. In other words,